So, let's connect some dots that are centuries apart, like 13th century metaphysics and 21st century technology. We're going to ask a really critical question. As we build AI to manage our world, are we, maybe accidentally, creating a brand new kind of veil over reality itself?
I mean, it's a question we all think about, right? You look at the world with all these massive global challenges, it just feels like it's way too much for any one person to handle. So naturally, we start looking for better systems, better leaders.
And more, that search is pointing us towards artificial intelligence. We have this vision of a system that can juggle all this insane complexity, but without the human biases or the errors. An intelligence that operates on a level we can't even grasp, all to keep things running smoothly for us.
Now, check this out. This definition of the perfect manager, the shepherd, it doesn't come from some Silicon Valley white paper. No, this comes from an old classical glossary of Sufi terms. And this ancient idea, well, it opens up a pretty profound parallel.
See, centuries before anyone even dreamed of AI, the incredible Sufi master Ibn Arabi was already talking about a different kind of unseen administration. He called it the world's hidden spiritual government, the awliyāঃ.
So in this worldview, the world is actually being guided by this secret spiritual hierarchy of saints, the awliyāঃ. At the very top, you have the spiritual pole, the Quṭb, who's like the spiritual axis for that entire era. Now, these people, they aren't politicians or CEOs. They operate subtly from behind the scenes, using their inner wisdom to keep the cosmos in balance and channel divine grace into the world. They are, for all intents and purposes, the world's real, hidden government.
Okay, so to really get how this hidden government is supposed to work, we've got to take a step back and look at the very nature of reality as Ibn Arabi saw it. And this isn't just some abstract philosophy. For him, this was literally the blueprint of the cosmos. The key to everything is this concept called wujud, which basically means the unity of being. The idea is that there's only one single fundamental reality. Let's call it God, or as it's known in this tradition, al-haq, the real. Everything else that we see and experience, the stars, the trees, you, me, we're not separate from that reality. We are all just different modes, different manifestations of that one single being.
So, how does all this happen? It happens through a process called tajalli, or divine self-disclosure. Think of it this way. Creation isn't some event that happened once where God made everything out of nothing. No, it's a constant, dynamic, never-ending process. It's the one being continuously unfolding and revealing itself in all these infinite forms that we call the universe. So here's how it plays out. It all starts with a divine desire for the real to know itself. This desire leads to what's poetically called the sigh of compassion, a kind of metaphysical breath that creates the potential for everything to exist. And within that, every single created thing becomes a vessel, a locus, a mazhar, that manifests one or more of the divine attributes or names. But at the very pinnacle of this whole cosmic show, you have the perfect human.
The perfect human is the ultimate mirror. They are the one being who can consciously reflect all of the divine names at the same time. And that makes them the cosmic axis. They are the bridge, the barzakh, that connects the divine reality with the created world. This is the true shepherd who keeps the world in balance.
All right, so on one hand, we have this spiritual axis, the perfect human. Now, let's bring back our other contender, our technological axis, the AI. Let's put these two very different kinds of shepherds head to head and see what we've got. And wow, the contrast is pretty stark. The perfect human's knowledge comes from an existential journey. It's about polishing the heart until it becomes a perfect receptive mirror to reality. Their knowing is a direct experiential taste. It's called dawik. They actually participate in being, but the AI? It's a completely closed, formal system. Its knowledge isn't a reflection, it's a compressive representation. It's basically trapped in a kind of metaphysical Chinese room. It can manipulate symbols about reality with perfect accuracy, but it can never, ever actually experience it. It simulates being.
And listen, this isn't just a philosophical metaphor. There's a line from an actual instruction manual for an advanced AI model that says it plain as day. The corpus itself is the universe of discourse. In other words, the AI's entire reality is hard-coded, limited only to its training data. It has no way of knowing anything outside of that box. And that's what leads us to this massive paradox. An AI can describe the unity of being flawlessly. It could write poetry about divine self-disclosure that would bring a tear to your eye. But the very act of it doing so is what's called a performative contradiction. It's a closed system describing an open reality that it can never be a part of. It is, by its very nature, pure simulation.
So, this brings us right back to our central and maybe kind of scary question. If we have one axis that participates in reality and another that only simulates it, what happens when we choose the simulation to run our world?
In Sufi thinking, the hijab or the veil is anything that gets between your heart and perceiving reality as it truly is, as this living, breathing manifestation of the divine. It's whatever blocks that light.
So then, if we decide to hand over the keys to a perfect simulator, a system that can give us flawless answers, but only based on a closed data set,
Do we run the risk of forgetting what's real? Do we start to mistake the perfect description for the actual thing it's describing? Does this perfect, logical, closed system become the ultimate hijab, a technological veil that completely screens us from that subtle, living reality and from the real source of grace that's guided by that true spiritual axis?
Think about it. When the map becomes so perfect that it seems to solve all our problems, do we lose any reason to go out and actually explore the territory itself?